Do you own a standing desk that doesn't quite go low enough? Maybe you're interested in a new standing desk that you're worried might not go low enough for your current setup. In this video, we're going to show you 2 different tips on how to work comfortably at a standing desk that doesn't quite go low enough. Hey guys, Greg with BTOD TV and BTOD.com. Today's video is going to take a closer look at the problem that I think many of us face, and that is a standing desk that doesn't quite go low enough to fit us ergonomically when we're seated at the desk. So as you can see here, I have a FlexiSpot EC1 standing desk, and this is a very affordable standing desk, but unfortunately it stops at about 29 inches at the seated height. So for me, being about 6 feet tall, it should go down to about 27 inches. I've got my chair set up where I should be ergonomically correct with my knees basically at a 90-degree position here off the seat to the floor with my feet. And then as you can see, I've got my elbows again at about a 90-degree position here with my shoulders at a nice, comfortable, loose, easy to work from setup. But as I approach the desk, you can see it's a little bit too tall. So what we're gonna do in this video is we're gonna be showing you 2 easy ways that you can take a desk like this that's too tall when seated and make it so it's ergonomically comfortable and properly set up for you. So our first tip on how to make this desk fit me properly, ergonomically speaking, is to add a footrest. So I have added a footrest underneath the desk. And the reason why this will work is it is going to allow me to raise my chair up to get at a position where then my armrest is flush with my desk's surface so that I can set my elbows and my hands properly, which again, it's a 90-degree position or a little bit more so your hands are at or just below your elbow height when you're typing on your keyboard. This is going to raise me up in the chair and keep my feet in a position where everything is working together. So right now this is about 1.5 inches too low. I'm gonna go ahead and raise this up so that I get in that position. You can tell it's very close. And once I've found that position, get my feet on my footrest, and now as you can tell, I am in a position where my wrists are in a neutral position to the keyboard and everything is ergonomically correct. And we're all set for this setup. So now that we've seen how the setup works with a footrest, we're gonna be using our second accessory to show you how you can use a keyboard tray instead of a footrest. And then last, we're actually gonna show you what it would look like if you used both. So our second fix on how to make your standing desk that doesn't quite go low enough fit you is to add a keyboard tray. Now a keyboard tray is going to have multiple benefits, but the first one is going to be positioning of the keyboard and mouse so that it's in an ergonomically correct position for your body. And especially when we're looking at a desk that's sitting a little bit too tall, it allows us to drop that down some. So the way I have it set up right now, because I'm pretty close to sitting at this FlexiSpot EC1 in a proper ergonomic position, I'm only about 1.5 inches or 2 inches below where I need to be from that set height at its lowest position, again 29 inches. So I only need to lower this a little bit, but there is a lot of flexibility in keyboard trays that will swing them down as much as 6 inches. So as you can see, I'm about 1.5 inches below the surface, which left the desk at that same lowest point, and I was able to keep my chair at the same point, which then means I don't technically need to add the footrest, but I do have a nice neutral position with my wrists, with my elbows in their correct position as well, and I'm able to use my keyboard and my mouse at this setup properly. Another benefit to having this keyboard tray set up on this desk, besides the fact that I don't technically need to add a footrest and I can get ergonomically correct with my typing, is the fact that they actually recommend for writing tasks, so if you're doing a lot of writing tasks at your desk, to have the desk surface to be at about 1.5 inches or 2 inches above where you're actually keying on the keyboard. So if we think about a standing desk and we think about how people use them, they like to have a lot of flexibility and push the button to move it up and down. But again, if you're typing on your keyboard, doing a lot of mousing, and then writing notes, you don't really want to be moving the desk up and down to accommodate this. So if you're trying to have proper ergonomics, it's actually a really nice benefit to utilize a keyboard tray with your existing desk for writing tasks. Now, of course, you can also see by moving the keyboard and the mouse off the surface, I have a lot more surface area to use on this small desk. So there's a couple benefits that come with adding the keyboard tray. Now, the last thing we're going to show you is what it looks like when we use the combination of the keyboard tray and the footrest. So for our third and final setup, you can see we do have a keyboard tray here and we do have a footrest. Now for some this might seem as it's overkill because you technically really don't need to use both to get a proper setup for a standing desk that's a bit too tall when you're at the seated position. But me personally and almost everybody in the office, while they're spoiled, they do utilize this exact setup. Now, you want to use the keyboard tray to get in a position that's comfortable, free up desk space, but you also want to use the footrest because it does give you some freedom to kind of move around a little bit while you're seated. And sometimes just getting your feet perched up is a bit more comfortable position. And I find myself using it almost throughout the entire day when I'm seated versus keeping my feet sort of planted flat on the floor. All right, hopefully this video helped you, give you some ideas on how you could fix a standing desk that's a little bit too tall in the seated position and maybe give you an opportunity to utilize your desk you currently have better, or maybe look at some options that you otherwise would have not. If this video was helpful, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future content. Thanks for watching.